Hello, doomers and tubers. Welcome back to the channel. Today, pickups. Pickups. The pickups. Because I haven't done one in a while. I was kind of in the habit of doing them monthly for a little while there, which is great. Fine. Because it often took the entire month to kind of collect up anything worthy of talking about, but I didn't do a September one because I didn't really pick up a whole lot of stuff in September. Just like one thing in September, which is fine. Um, so in the meantime, I since then, since the end of September, I've actually picked up a lot of things. Of course, I'm excluding the couple of packages that I received in September because those were amazingly awesome. I think they were in September. Whatever, the package from Ducky and Sporadic Spacebar, both of them were a while back. So those kind of served as my last pickup video, uh, I guess, because there were things that I got, but uh, yeah, they were all gifts. Uh, so what I have here is actually things that I picked up myself. A couple of movies, but mostly games, and kind of going back to the beginning of September. So first up, a couple of movies I'll show you here. I did pick up finally a Blu-ray, or excuse me, just a DVD copy of Blade Runner on. Found it at the local Dollar General in the bargain section, just the disc only, but I had an extra case, so I went ahead and threw it in there. And it is the final cut. I don't know what the difference is between the final cut or like the director's cut or anything like that, but it's just the disc only. But I did find a cool site. I forget what the exact title of it is, but in much like thecoverproject.net for video games, this website actually specializes in DVD covers. So I do have now saved on my computer a cover for that I plan on throwing on there eventually, but I haven't got around to it yet. The other movie that I picked up, I've already done a little discussion on, and that is the Heavenly Sword movie, based on the game, of course, but not 100%. It's not a carbon copy of the game. There's actually a lot of things different, but it ended up being a pretty worthy movie, I guess I could say. If you're a fan of the game, I would definitely recommend you checking this out. It's pretty cheap. This was $10, and I know you can rent it on like PSN for less than that. So I mean, if you're interested in seeing it, if you have played the game, I would suggest it. And if you haven't played the game, I wouldn't necessarily highly recommend that you watch it because the game is better ultimately, but obviously it's more of a time commitment. But this makes a lot more sense if you've seen or if you've played the game. That was it for the movies, and no music pickups to speak of that I can think of. I don't think so. Um, I did get a couple of digital games, namely the Orange Box. I think I might have mentioned that in a previous video. I did pick it up. It was like $5 on sale on Xbox Live Arcade a while back, so I went ahead and grabbed that and love it. And if you're unfamiliar with the Orange Box, it is a collection of games released by Valve. Um, Namely Half-Life 2, and then its two expansions, Episode 1 and Episode 2, and then a mod of Half-Life 2 called Team Fortress 2, which was just a multiplayer first-person shooter only. Like, there's no single player at all to it. It's all online multiplayer. And then lastly is the experimental new game at the time called Portal, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. Um, Portal is brilliant. It certainly wasn't the reason to get the game in the beginning. Of course, that's not the reason that they released it. Of course, it was so people could play Half-Life 2 on the Xbox 360 and also jump on to Team Fortress 2, which I think is a total blast. But Portal ended up being the game that really kind of made the Orange Box uh, a hit, I think, for a lot of people. And if you look online and even still in places like GameStop and stuff like that, the Orange Box is still like $30 for a disc copy. And this was like not a launch title for the Xbox 360, I don't think so, but a pretty early title. We're looking like 2007, 2008 is when this game came out. Because I had it right when I got a 360 in 2008. So it's been out for a while and it's still $30. They're over $30 at GameStop. I'm not sure what it goes for online, but I just saw it tonight at GameStop for $30. So for $5 on Xbox Live Arcade, I'm totally cool with that. Having it online only, or on my console hard drive, it's just not that big a deal for $5. It's kind of a bargain. Then the only game I picked up in September was, of course, Minecraft for the Xbox 360. I think I've talked about this quite a bit. I'm not sure. I feel like I've talked about this game quite a bit, but it might have been partially been in videos that I didn't upload. I think it's a brilliant game. I didn't quite understand people's obsession with Minecraft prior to actually trying it myself, but once I did finally try it, it is just loads and loads and loads of fun, and I've put close to 40 hours into it as of this recording. But it's been a couple of weeks since I played, and I'm totally okay with that. Um, yeah, it's been a couple of weeks, and I'm enjoying giving it a break because hopefully when I go back to it, I know it won't be like brand new, but I'm hoping that I enjoy it as much as I did when I first started it, because it was starting to get a little bit stale, but not bad by any means. But come on, 40 hours of just destroying and placing blocks, yeah, it could get a little old after 40 hours, but it's still it's one of those things that's so hard to explain to people, because people like me prior to playing it, what makes it so good, because I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what makes this game so addicting and so good. Virtual Legos for adults and kids. It's phenomenal. Okay, next up, I made a couple of different GameStop trips, and had a little bit of extra money and wanted to buy some games. Like, it's just I don't know if you call it retail therapy. I didn't need retail therapy for anything. Nothing bad happened, but I just wanted to buy some games, so I did. First off, the first trip, we made a semi-big purchase and then a few cheap games. I'll show the cheap games first. We did find a UMD only copy of Popol LaCroix for the PSP. Not real big on PSP games, but I heard that this was a pretty cool little simple RPG, so I picked it up because it was only like $2, something like that. It did come in a case, but it had that generic GameStop cover on it, so I just threw that away and was hoping I could find it on the cover project, but I actually have not found I have not found that cover yet. So if anybody knows where there is a printable cover for Popol LaCroix out there in the internet land, be sure to let me know. Next up was a disc-only copy of Battlefield 3 for the PlayStation 3. Once again, this was actually disc-only. I actually asked for this case, and they found me an extra WWE case in the back or whatever. But this is a disc-only copy of Battlefield 3, and it was only like $2, $2 or $3. So kind of a no-brainer, because I did want to pick up Battlefield 3 at some point for the PlayStation 3, and yeah, for like $3 for disc-only copy, they did give me a case, and I have found this cover on Cover Project already, so I do plan on printing that cover. And for a game that's like $3 or $4, I really have no problem buying it disc-only and printing a cover. Now, if it was a game that cost, we'll say $15 or more, yeah, I probably want to buy the cover. I mean, because that's, at that point it is an investment. But for $2 or $3, it's just not that big of a deal to me. I guess as long as I have a case, I'm kind of stickler about buying disc only copies of games if they don't have a case. Not so much UMDs, but definitely definitely disc games, PS3, Xbox, so that kind of stuff. I was like, I need a case at least, but I don't have a problem buying disc only. Next up, for also very cheap, Medal of Honor Warfighter for the Xbox 360. This is one of those games that it's a first-person shooter, obviously, but I heard that the biggest flaw with this game is that it came out too close to Battlefield 3 and Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Like there was really nothing wrong with this game. Nothing, majorly wrong with it except for it's not Battlefield and it's not Call of Duty. So with that being its major flaw, I'd say that I'll probably enjoy this game. I've actually never played any of the Medal of Honor games, but how can this one be that bad? And this was, like less than $5 too for the complete copy. It actually has, both discs and, manual. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if that online code's used. Something to think about. Excuse me. And then the last item that I picked up that day was the big ticket item. And the only reason I say it's a big ticket item is because I paid full retail for it, but at full retail it was only $40. Um, and I've talked about this one already too. It is Ultra Street Fighter 4 for the PlayStation 3. Love it, love it, love it. This was a very, very worthy upgrade, if you ask me. I didn't think that Arcade Edition was bad at all. I didn't. I love it. I love Arcade Edition. But there is just enough new content here that I think it really warrants a purchase. Now, whether or not you buy the physical version, that's entirely up to you. But I would definitely say that if you're an owner of Arcade Edition or even Super Street Fighter 4, I would definitely urge you to upgrade to Ultra for $15 for the digital or $40 for the disc, because I think it is definitely a worthy upgrade. And they're getting ready to release Omega Mode for Ultra Street Fighter 4. And if you don't know what Omega Mode is, I suggest you look up some gameplay on Omega Mode, because it takes Street Fighter 4 and adds a lot of kind of over the top, just pure fun elements to it. A lot of really, really over the top stuff. It's hard to explain, so seriously, if you're even halfway interested in Street Fighter 4, check out some videos about Ultra Street Fighter 4 Omega Edition. It's gonna be awesome, and it's a free upgrade. It's the Omega. You have to have Ultra in order to utilize Omega, but Omega is going to be a free upgrade to Ultra. This optional stuff. It's not permanent. It's optional stuff. You have to manually choose Omega in order to play with the Omega characters. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, last up here on the pickup video, which is already surprisingly longer than I thought. It was tonight's visit to the GameStop yielded some things that I was really, really interested in. First of which is something I'm a little upset about, actually, because now I'm going to have to go back, and I don't live that close to the GameStop, so this is kind of annoying. But I did grab Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures for the Wii U. This is available on a lot of different consoles, actually, 360, PS3, Wii U, and I think there was even a version for the 3DS. But I really wanted to play the game, and what better place to play a cartoony platformer than on the Wii U? The bad part is, like I said, I'm pretty upset about this. I got home, should have checked before I left the store, or at least before I left town. No disc. So the wife and I were actually planning on maybe going back to town on Friday night before she leaves for her trip, which she leaves on Saturday. But now it looks like it's a sure thing. Definitely going to head back to town so we can go grab the disc for this because that's really freaking annoying. I don't completely fault the store, the GameStop guy, because it's the same guy that's been in there for a long time and has really helped me out in the past, hooked me up with like the Metal Gear Rising Steelbook and stuff like that. So I know he's a good dude and he knows video games. We talk about games all the time. When I go in there, it's been the same guy the past several times. So I know he didn't intentionally screw me. You know, just I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I got home without the disc to Pac-Man: The Ghostly Adventures, which, you know, it's not the end of the world, but it was $15, $16, so I want the disc. Next up is a game that I was actually really interested in, and for some reason, online, this game goes for quite a bit more money than it does at GameStop. But it is Namco Museum Virtual Arcade. And this game includes Pac-Man Championship Edition, Galactic Legions, Xevious, Mr. Driller Online. It says plus 5 more. And then also classic games, Dig Dug, Classic Pac-Man, Pole Position, Galaxian, and 21 games. So there's like 30-some games on this disc, which is really nice. They're all, you know, like the kind of remade, rebooted classic arcade games like Pac-Man Championship Edition and Galactic Legions, and then I think there's like an HD Dig Dug game on there, and then Mr. Driller Online, which I am really excited about. But for some reason, I mean, this game is only $17.99 used at GameStop, but for some reason online, this thing goes for like $60, and I do not know why. But yeah, really happy to have this, primarily for Pac-Man Championship Edition and Mr. Driller Online. Really excited to play those games. So glad they had that. When I saw it, I just snagged it right away because I knew that it was going to be something that I picked up. My mother-in-law and wife were getting their nails done and pedicures and things like that. So I had a lot of time to kill and hung out in GameStop for like 2 hours. But that was one of the ones that I was carrying around for a long time. Next up, 2 3DS games. Really excited to have both of these. Finally picked up a copy of Shin Megami Tensei 4. This was surprisingly cheap. I was $16 for a used copy. They had a brand new copy in there for $19, but since it didn't include the big box with the strategy guide and everything, I really didn't care that much whether I bought it new or used. So for $16 instead of $20, I got a used copy. So saved a few dollars, and I'm okay with a used copy, really. As long as there's nothing wrong with the cartridge, and I can't imagine that there is, unless it just flat out doesn't work, in which case I'll be exceptionally pissed. But that may get played sooner than later because I've really I have several DS games, and I have a few 3DS games that I haven't beaten, but really I just haven't been in the mood to play anything that I have on handheld, and I don't know why. I mean, that's so bad of me to have so many so many DS and 3DS games that I haven't finished. 3DS really only a couple, but man, I just not in the mood to play any of them. So I'm glad that I found that and this game. I know that this game didn't get the best reviews in the world, but what I saw of the game, I thought looked like a lot of fun. And the biggest complaint that a lot of people had was the monotony of it, and I can deal with a lot of monotony, especially in games like this. So I went ahead and got the Adventure Time Explore the Dungeon because I don't know. Collector's Edition. I didn't mean to get the Collector's Edition. I grabbed the generic, or not generic, just the case, the 3DS case off the wall at the GameStop, because a brand new copy was only $14. So I grabbed it, took it up there, and they gave me a shrink wrapped copy of the Collector's Edition. I've already opened it. So that little slipcover comes off, but it's still got a nice kind of tin BMO box, and it opens up, and it's got a disc of what's it called? Disc of bonuses, which I don't know. I think it's got like some soundtrack stuff. Looks like some actor interviews, storyboards, cinematics, concept art. I don't know if there's any soundtrack stuff in there. Then it's got this little Finn and Jake's dungeon guide, which has like the items and some stats, some numbers and things like that, and some artwork and some other things. Story description, playable characters, non-playable characters, familiars, sub-weapons, items, tokens, and monsters. That's so basically that's just your manual for the game. And then of course the wonderful 3DS game, which is still sealed at this point. Uh, Plan on probably starting this one too. Maybe I might even start this one first because I think this looks like a lot of fun. Um, like I said, I know that it doesn't get it hasn't gotten the greatest of reviews as far as games go, and I enjoy Adventure Time, but I actually haven't seen that much of the show. If I'm being honest, I really have only seen maybe a dozen or so episodes here and there, but I do really like it. So I definitely need to go back and watch more of the show, but I am really excited to play this game because it's like a dungeon crawler, kind of like Diablo style. But I do want to go ahead and pick up the other 3DS game too, the Ice King one that plays like Zelda 2. I want to get that one too. So there you go. That is kind of my September and into October pickups. Not a ton of stuff, but a lot of really solid stuff. I'm pretty happy with all of my selections. If there's one thing I noticed about I notice about my pickups, even though they're slightly less frequent, they're definitely more choosy. I definitely look to pick up games that I'm more immediately interested in playing as opposed to just getting a bunch of RPGs that will sit on my shelf forever. So hope you enjoyed the pickups. I want to thank you all for watching. Doom Waves out.